ScriptWorks, which, by the way, do you know ScriptWorks? Mm. It is such a, you got to get involved. It is such a supportive playwrights group. They hand out commissions. You can, like, there's like a steady submission form that is always updated. You pay $40 for the year, and you can write a play and have it read by really good actors. But anyway, so she's I've always loved her, and then she came up and did the throat thing, and I still love her to death.
Was she trying to make a joke? Was she trying to be funny? No, she was like, "How dare you go over 20 minutes?"
Right. Well, 25. And once again, totally understand why you have to do that. Not only that, they tell us that at least 10 times before you get on stage. So it's not like it was a surprise.
Yeah.
But
I can't even imagine what it's like to run a festival like that,
wow.
though.
Yeah.
There's no comparison to it.
I think about the, like, level of organization, like you talking about the neighborhood, like, that's as much as I can do. I could not do a festival. Absolutely not. Oh, no.
I mean, it is literally the most impressive festival I've ever been a part of.
Yeah.
By far. And for any of those listeners out there who are writers, get involved with ScriptWorks. It is the best thing you can do. It was like the first thing I did when I got to Austin. They had a meet and greet, just luckily on the day I arrived here. And I went there and I met Will Cleveland. And Will took me to the Institute, Will and Amber, took me to the institution. We ended up doing improv, and I was like, hey, new friends. And I thought, this was my rhythm. This is my city rhythm for sure.
Huh.
That's awesome. I love Will. He's great.
Do you think the experience that you, since you learned a lot at Second City, do you think that style of writing lends itself to the writing you were talking about, where you had like a framework and then you improvised to flesh it out? Because from what I understand, because I don't 100% know all about the Second City method, from what I understand, there's a lot of writing from improv. So I wondered if perhaps the skills learned there are a lot of what helped that process.
I think it depends on who's directing the main stage. But if you go into classes at Second City, there's setup, there's they don't call it an intrusion. What's the other word for it?
Rising action.
The throwing off of the world.
I see what you're saying.
There's
I don't know what the word.
I forget. It's essentially the intrusion. So there's the setup, the intrusion, first turning point, second turning point, resolution, and that's how you write there. And they've got a factory going, so they need to scale everything. That's why it isn't what it once was. But at the same time, I think main stage, main stage is done through improv. But they put up so many shows that, like, for traveling groups, from what I understand, they do a lot of classic sketches. So they do stuff that's worked for a long time.
Yeah.
And they get to write a little bit, I guess, but
Interesting. So it's kind of like the Esther's Follies model. Take a sketch, keep doing it forever.
Mm-hmm.
It's totally fine. Keep it going.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Main stage is always fresh.
Sure.
But they run it forever.
Yeah.
ETC is the same way. But improv, I mean, like, at some point they probably taught that method, but now it's like writing, improv for actors, improv for older actors, and and there's like 9 million different ways to cash in on it. And then IO is just purely improv. They have like enough people there to where they'll hold specialty workshops or like series of workshops. Annoyance, I think, is the closest thing to where it's really super supportive towards that type of development.
Huh.
And their shows, like, I've seen really good shows there, and I've seen really, really shitty shows there, which is also the beauty of it. But Mick Napier, he's the guy that is just, he's the improv to sketch king.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I had only learned about it because of Kevin McDonald from Kids in the Hall. When he came, he did stuff at Second City, Toronto, and he was always, his point is always, write a first draft and then improvise it and flesh it out like that, or let's do some improv and get some ideas and build it from that. So that's a lot of the process that I had taken a couple workshops with him, and then he and I, he's been a friend since the first time I took the workshop from him. So like sometimes when I'm hitting a wall, I'll be like, oh God,
yeah,
I can't write anything. What can I do? And he'll go, try this thing. And I'll go, okay, thanks. Very helpful.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wondered what your experience of it was. And so when you came down here and you met Will and you did improv at the institution, how did you get involved with, like you met Will and then you ended up going to school. Well, you guys went to Scriptworks first. You met Will, you found about there was some improv in town. How many years have you been here, and what's been your journey thus far in the community?
So I graduated in 2014. So I probably got here. When do you graduate? What's the month? Like
May?
May? Yeah, May. So I think I stayed there for a month or something, and then I moved here. So May. I'm terrible with these.
Like June or July?
Yeah, let's just call it June or July. So I got here and met Will, institution. I was really hot on wanting to turn short plays into movies. That was a big reason I came here. And I was LA the whole time I was at school. All my friends made a mass exodus out to LA from Chicago. So that was what I was going to do. And then I just wasn't convinced everyone was happy and that it was going to be a healthy decision for me. So I didn't know a single person in Austin. I didn't know a single, that's kind of why I moved here. And it probably had a lot to do with the complexity of living in a small place for a long time.
Yeah.
So I moved here, and then I went to the New Movement really early. But I did Scriptworks, and I think I was just trying to figure out how to produce plays.
Yeah.
I just want to get a play up. And I moved in with, not randomly, I found him on Craigslist, but do you know
Craigslist is pretty random.
Yeah, that's about as random as it.
Jack Leahy, do you know him? He's a full-time person. And then Daniel Berkowitz and Eli Edson. Okay. So they were all improvisers. They're Cold Town people. Or Daniel's not, but... So I had the familiarity of, the type of people that I get along with.
So those were your roommates when you first moved to town?
Mm-hmm.
Good.
And they were super great to me.
I mean, as far as randomly goes, that's nice.
Yeah, for real.
Randomly on Craigslist normally means like you lose a limb or a kidney or something.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Yeah, I've had a lot of randomness on Craigslist.
Random.
Yeah. Whew. Yeah, I've gotten a lot of random weird crap off of Craigslist. So yeah, you won there. That sounds pretty great.
I scored.
And then you're still friends with them, and you still chat with them, even though clearly they're not your roommates anymore, unless your wife's really cool with having a bunch of roommates.
You got like a Partridge Family situation going on?
No, that wouldn't. No. So then I went to the New Movement. I went to Cold Town. I did Hideouts. And because I did so much, so the most important thing that happened at Ohio was that I was able to figure out my own style of teaching and my own format and my own path for improv, because I took over I started directing the improv kids there. So much talent. Unbelievable. The first person I met there, I was introduced to the person who was kind of like, he was still in like a junior in college there. Luke Knoll, who is now on SNL as a featured cast member.
Nice.
Yeah. And then there's this other improviser. She is in tons of movies, and she was featured in Rolling Stone, and she's like blowing up as a comedian and an actress.
You can drop that name if you want to.
Patty Harrison.
All right.
It's wonderful to see people that you work with do well, especially when you know that they're good people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, one of the earlier things you said was, I learned to work with good human beings, and I feel like even if I hadn't learned it myself from my own creating of plays like you, just watching people that I'd known over the years, the people who were nice to me are still doing it. The people who were jerks to me, I haven't seen their names since that time.
Absolutely.
Like, it's like the people who were kind would speak to every level, because I was a stage manager for years. If you talked to the stage manager, like, you were lowering yourself sometimes, you know? So, like, people would treat me like crap everywhere. I mean, and I worked for NYU. I didn't, like, work for Broadway. I worked for NYU. I was a like 20-year-old working for grad students.
Mm-hmm.
And they would treat me like they were friggin' Oscar winners and I was a peon. And I was like, relax. You're doing fucking Midsummer Night's Dream at NYU. Get over your life. Like,
Stage lights
come
fall
on.
for no reason.
Like, yeah, I'm in charge of that shit.
Yeah.
You want your prop or what?
Yeah.
But
I've
yeah,
handed
anyway,
you a
the
drink
nice
before.
people are still doing stuff. You know, they're out there doing things. And then the people who were jerks to me, I'm like, oh, isn't that interesting? Aren't you unemployed? Isn't that funny for you? Yeah, people, it comes around.
Yeah, I like, and that kind of goes all the way back to what we were talking about being good people. And this is something you can instill in your child. Is like,
Sure.
it's very Star Wars to say it, but it's like a fast way to sort of shoot up to the top of what you can see in your like narrow scope as a young person. But like, eventually everybody gets really tired of that shit, and it all just kind of peters out. You know, like in Star Wars, the dark side is a quick way to become powerful, but in the end, it's very self-destructive. Whereas the light side. Again, make your kid watch Star Wars. I'm sure Chris is on this.
I want to drag you back to a
Sure,
moment
sure.
where I asked you
Huh?
if your life is a journey, is it a melodrama? And you kind of just
I know what
described-
I'm doing. Star Wars happens to be the first thing. I could do this with every other thing you've ever heard of.
Oh my god, are you
I
kidding
could literally
me?
compare myself to Goku or Frodo or Bilbo. I could do this all day.
Melodrama. Let's do Schindler's List.
Oh god! Why would you do that?
Let's
Okay.
No,
So,
no,
can I be-
No, you don't have to do it.
Why?
Can I be Oscar Schindler and the Jewish people?
Oh god!
Because no, I'm sorry.
I thought this was gonna end so well.
Can my own happiness be the... No, it's fine. It's really funny is... Not really funny. That's not... Not really funny. Interestingly enough...
I love how I get to dig a hole and you get to fall in with a shovel. And
Yeah, and just keep going. I'm just so glad you dug me a hole that I'm even slightly familiar with.
Oh my
You
god!
gave me at least the minimal amount of ammo for me to just go, well, I know that story, and if you give me 3 minutes and another beer, I could probably do it, but nobody's going to be happy about it. Very much like the end of Schindler's List.
If you hadn't told me at the beginning of this that you hadn't listened to anything, hadn't listened to the episodes, I would have assumed that you had, because Wendell is always saying horrifying shit on this podcast,
Oh, really?
and the idea of him comparing his life to Schindler's List is very on brand for Yes But Why.
And I will say that we are getting very close to our 100th episode,
Yeah, we are.
and I have made leaps and strides. Like, I am all kinds of better from, like...
He is very rarely talking about pedophilia. Very rarely.
Very rarely.
Very rarely.
And that is through much effort on my end.
He is a strong
Have you
man.
guys downloaded the app?
What? I don't want to know.